It keeps me up at night sometimes thinking about how the GFL never happened, right? I know a lot of people were hating on it. It's the Grandpa Fight League, blah, blah, blah. Come on now, bud. You're telling me all the names they had signed, you weren't a little bit excited to see them fight each other? Like, come on, look at that. How many times does Pettis and Henderson have to fight before you start caring, bud? But let's get serious, right? First off, you know why we're talking about the GFL? Maybe because the UFC's not back yet, and I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Nonetheless, I do actually think the GFL would have been good for the sport, right? The GFL was a place where some older MMA guys who couldn't quite hang in the UFC anymore could have continued making money against other old MMA guys like them. Ideally, some juicing going on too. I think if you're in the GFL, you better be sticking needles in your neck and they better not be even thinking about drug testing you. That's what I was hopeful for. Because the names they had on here, the matchups they had signed and booked, I mean, it was stacked. It was stacked up, right? These were cards that were like you dang near recognize everybody from top to bottom. And the potential matchups that could have happened, like it's just the list goes on and on. They had Kevin Lee in there. Where's he fit into this? I'm sure he fits somewhere. Maybe a rematch with Tony. Speaking of Tony, here he is. Could have fought Dylan Dennis. Like, they were working. They were cooking, right? They were cooking up some monster cards, some monster fights. And I was here for it all, okay? I think with the UFC, they don't do this game of, all right, well, you're an old vet. Let's get you with another old vet. No, they go, all right, you're an old vet, past your prime. Here, let's get you killed by a young contender and then send you on your way. And it would have been nice if there was a promotion like the GFL where these guys could have prolonged their career against other guys like them, right? Because all these names on posters against each other, man, it was stacked and it was looking good and I was excited. And when it fell through, it was upsetting, I think, I don't know. I'm hopeful that the GFL can come back somehow, some way. It probably won't, but you'll think about these guys who, like Tony, for example. Where's he at? Here he is. Like a guy like Tony, you're in the UFC, you can't quite hang with the top guys anymore, but you want to keep fighting. You got it in you. You want to keep going. Well, what if there's a promotion that says, okay, well, you know what? Here's other guys who have name value like you, and we're not gonna drug test you, so you're gonna feel 30 again. Like that's what I'm talking about. That's why I liked Bellator, right? We got to see guys like Chael Sonnen, Vanderlei Silva, Rampage Jackson, Fedor, like all these guys that who couldn't quite cut it in the UFC nowadays, but they could fight each other, keep making money, and it's fun to watch. At least, the build-ups to them, because you get to recognize these guys. And then if they're on the sauce fighting each other, the fights are pretty fun. You're telling me Uberim doesn't pop back in there on some horse meat, you wouldn't tune in? Are you kidding me? Are you lying to me? Nonetheless, you get the point. I think the GFL would have been great for the sport, would have been a spot for these old guys to keep fighting other old guys like them. Crazy matchups could have happened. Who knows? Could have got Rockhold versus Anderson Silva. Could have got, Benson Henderson versus Kevin Lee or Tony Ferguson. Like all these potential fights that could have happened. I would have been tuned in for every single one of them. Instead, it gets chopped down. We don't get the GFL. Instead, these guys got to go box, which is, it's fine. But the GFL had me excited, real excited. So maybe it'll come back. Maybe it won't. I wish it went through because they had a lot of fun things happening. But it is what it is. And let's hope the UFC's break doesn't last much longer or else I'm going to slam.